Hi everyone and welcome back. Welcome to my playlist where we are talking about microservices. Okay, and in the last video we decided that we are going to just play with the simple hello world set of microservices using either Express JavaScript or Express TypeScript. And then we are going to use Express TypeScript and we will use monorepo and all those concepts. Currently we are starting with a single repository, right? Okay, like one repository will contain the whole application, and when we are talking about monorepo, in that case, because I'm going to talk about lots of examples and lots of code, so it's better to create a monorepo, and where I can create a nx monorepo with pnpm that I will explain what it is. Nx with pnpm as a workspace. And here you can create all different applications. Either you wanted to use Express or nextjs, all these applications we can put inside this. And if we are using some reusable packages which we can use across all different services, we can do that. So it's like a package that we can add here, and that package will be a part of, whatever the common utilities and all, you can put that here. So monorepo, we are going to use nx for that. I will attach the reference. Okay, where should you look for nx, and we are going to use the pnpm workspace. So currently, when you are doing a single repository, what you do is you just do npm init or pnpm init. Pnpm is also a package manager, same as npm init, I think, or yarn init. There should be some command to initialize your first package JSON, and then you start adding the dependencies like this: npm install --save package name, or you can do pnpm add if you are using pnpm as a package manager, package name, or yarn add. So these are like some basic commands based on what package manager you are using. You will start adding the dependency. If you talk about Express JavaScript, it's like a simple Express app you are building. So let's say somebody told you, so this is your team and they need maybe a simple Lambda or simple API, which is not even using some kind of authentication. You wanted to provide some public API which is listing you list of countries and list of cities. Countries and cities. Obviously, for those things I will not write any APIs. I can use simple JSON server. JSON server is an npm module. You just supply the JSON and it will create a simple CRUD for you. Okay, let's say there is some kind of APIs you are going to build. So what are the options you can choose to build these kind of API platform, right? So that thing we are going to talk about. So currently we are just only talking about Express TypeScript, not Express JavaScript. But let's say you have freedom to choose something and you wanted to just make it really quick, where you can just do simply node index.js and your application is up and running on some XX port, right? You can just use Express JavaScript that provides a simple MVC model, or if you wanted to use TypeScript, then you can use Express TypeScript. Here we are not talking about any framework. Here we are talking only about just a simple service that can act as a microservice, because that service should be doing a defined logic. Let's say I just wanted to create a simple authentication API, or I just wanted to create a simple CRUD. Let's say I wanted to create a simple blog API. Okay, we are creating, let's say, Udemy platform, and there is an operation, there is a service which allows you to rate a particular course, right? Rate a course. So you will define a model, you will define all the attributes, and here it is nothing but a CRUD operation. What you need to check is the user should be logged in, and user can rate the existing course which he has already bought, right? Those are the set of courses which user can rate. You don't even need to validate, okay, this course has been purchased by the user or not. there can be another service can validate that. You can just create a record. Okay, if I wanted to review, add a public review about a particular course, I should be able to do it. So it's like a review system you are building, and you can create that application using Express JavaScript or Express TypeScript. Okay, because that's a defined service going to have 1 or 2 tables, and you are going to write a CRUD operations to add a review to a particular course ID. So here you can just do lots of things. So here is the Express framework, and you can just use Express framework with JavaScript. That's a simple one. Like this is how you do it, npm init, and entry point is the index.js. You can just node index.js. Okay, that will give you this type of Express app. We can start playing with these things, like okay, what it is going to provide us. Express generator, there is a Express generator is a library. I will just check where it is. There should be an Express generator, Express application generator, something like this, right? So what we are doing here is you just install Express generator globally. Once it is done, you can simply do Express application name, and you can specify the view engine, because you can use Node.js to do server-side rendering of the pages. And let's do first to some project. I already have created a GitHub repository. I will share with that, because currently we haven't started the monorepo and all. We are just playing with a single repository. Okay, microservices. So I can just do npm init, or I can just do Express applications, and what application it has created, my app. We can just open this, and this is how it looks like. It's nothing but it's like plain JavaScript. There is no TypeScript, so you don't need a TS config. There is no test setup there, so you don't need jest. Here you just need a node bin ww. So there is a inside bin there is a root file which we are executing. It's like a HTTP server. So when you do is npm install first of all. So all the dependencies can be installed. I mean, everybody knows how to create a hello world APIs in the Node.js. I'm just covering it so that we can know that we are starting from 0 to hero. And then I can just do npm run, go to your package.json, npm run start. So it will start the application on particular port, and that port is, okay, that port is not defined here. Here we can set the debug mode. So here we are starting, this is giving us the app instance. And here we are starting this application on to, let's see the port. We can just set the debug mode. Okay, the port is 3000. Okay, so when you try to do curl localhost, you will get this page, right? The welcome page, welcome to the Express and all, because this is auto generated. Now if you wanted to add a new routes and all, you can do it easily. So here I have a user router. Let's say I wanted to create another route profile. Then you can create a profile router. I mean, I hope you already know how to write a simple Express app. It's MVC application, and then here we are saying is profile router, users and profile, routes and profile. So there is a routes. Here I will create a same as users. I will create a profile. Profile is also have the same thing, responded with a resource. Now what you can do is you can extend this example services. So from the routes, you can call the services, you can have a model, because obviously it's not like we are going to write a hello world. We are going to have a services that is going to access the model. Even if you have a database, like let's say you can use just a simple Postgres or in-memory database or MongoDB database and all, that you can attach it. So it's like you can extend this, and then further you can just add the required file. You can add a .env and add a .env.example, because might be you are using some environment variable apart from using just a port. Okay, and then I can add a new module npm install --save .env, right? And inside app.js we can require this .env. I think you can just simply write require.config .env.config. It is a disadvantage of JavaScript. You don't know like what all methods are available, and I'm not even sure if this is the right value. Okay, there is a .env, and .env module does exist. It will look for .env and it will put all those things. Let's say I'm just putting port equal to 3003. Now it will read this .env. So what we are doing, we are requiring .env module and loading the configuration. It will load this .env and it will put all those things inside a process.env. I do know I made some mistakes always. It's not .env, it's a .env package. So let's install the correct package first. And inside this, it will become .env. .config, you can see this method, it is going to load this env and it will make all the variables available inside this. Okay, rest apart from that, you can install all the other dependencies. Let's say you are using Jest for the testing and all. So npm install --save Jest. What other modules we can add? I mean, we are not writing TypeScript, so there is no point of adding ESLint, but we can add Husky, Prettier. I mean, those are like dev dependencies we are adding, so let's add them as a dev dependency. Just Husky, Prettier. So all the other required dependencies, so we already know how to baseline a repository, right? So all those dependencies you can add and make this application production ready. You just add a nice readme file, define all the instructions which you need. Further, we can install Husky hooks, and then commit lint conventions that we can add inside a dev dependencies. Okay, and inside our package JSON, we can specify the commit lint configuration, and then we can just do npm run prettier right. There may be some issues, we'll fix that. Okay, unable to find modules, prettier being prettier. Npm run lint. So we will fix the dependencies which it is complaining. It's a JavaScript project, so we also need to have a prettier rc and prettier ignore. ESLint rc, ESLint ignore, and all those files. So this is prettier ignore, ESLint rc. Now we don't need a complex ESLint because we are not writing TypeScript. We can even skip this plugin system. ESLint recommended. We can just keep ESLint recommended. Parser, do we need to specify? Not sure. Let's try this. And there are some rules. Let's keep these rules empty. So this is like it will going to apply ESLint recommended rules on our project. So here we can extend this example any longer, like npm run. There are these different commands, npm run test, which is using jest, right? So I just added a simple jest config. Currently there are no test files, so you can have like, let's say __ test, and inside that you can create API folder or a unit tests, I mean whatever you wanted to do, and then you can just do npm run test, and then npm run format, that is using prettier, npm run dev. There are other commands also which you can execute with express app. So what all, like when you can set a debug mode, like debug equal to my app npm start. If you want to add some kind of logging, you can do that. Debug equal to my app npm run start, that is inside a package JSON. Okay, that application is started. And I mean, this is how the whole folder structure looks like. Now you can do lots of things. You can also create a middleware. Because this is express, it is not enforcing you to follow a particular structure. We can understand a little bit on database. So there are MongoDB models you can create. Database, it will contain database connections, middleware, services. I mean, currently we have routes, but from routes you can follow the MVC pattern, and you can create a controller also. So there are two different approach of following different folder based approach, something like this. I will try to draw it. So here we are using express app, right? So this is like, let's say express app. Either you can use a folder based approach where, let's say I'm creating user. Now it will have a user.routes.js, user.model, user.validator.js. I mean, you put everything inside this folder, user.service.js and user.controller. So how we do in the MVC pattern is route will get the control, and from routes we will get the go to the controller. Okay, from controller we will go to our service, and before you go to the controller you will do the validation of like payload validations and all different kind of validations, URL parameter and all. Then you will go to the service. Service will use models to read, write and update, right? So this is like a plain and simple MVC model we follow for any kind of structure, or you can create all these folders and the root. Okay, like let's say the routes. Inside that you can create a user.routes.js, profile.routes.js, right? Or you create a middleware, and inside middleware you can just do cookie.parser because you wanted to apply some custom function, auth.middleware.js, logger.middleware.js, right? So you just can create these folders inside a root and define all of these things. You can create a service, then user service, profile service, and you can create a middleware, services, routes, controller, or you can just create a folder and put all those things together. Now external utilities comes like, okay, there is a database is like common, so you can create a database folder, same as we are doing here. You can put all the middlewares here, and your application will be starting from this. So you can create a custom server.js or index.js in the outside. Okay, so this is an express app. Obviously we won't be just using this to deploy our application. Now we are using express TypeScript and all. If whatever we built, either a simple hello world or REST APIs, you should always use the production ready boilerplate or production ready framework, let's say, you can still use Express but use now with the TypeScript, and you can configure everything env, because later we are going to talk about 12 factor principles to build a simple microservice that is talking about configuration management, logger management, and environment isolations, how we are segregating a different environments, how we are segregating different database for different database different environment. Okay, how we are defining the different models, right? So all 12 factor principles applies to any particular service. So you can see this is app.js, which is central file. Here we are registering all the middlewares, and here we are registering all the routes, and we are listening to a particular port. This is a global error handler. If any route throws an error, that will be handled by this. Okay, pretty much simple Express app. You can extend this based on your need. I try to add a jest config, prettier, ESLint RC, ESLint RC.js. All the global required things. You can have a test. You can write a unit test and integration test. Husky just for creating a hook. Here, when you are doing commit, we should be able to format the code and run the tests and whatever we want. And commit lint is for adding the commit conventions to our commits we are making. So we have commit lint enabled. So whenever I just try to add a commit, it will just do the format, and then it will ask you what is a bug, feature, build fix, style, refactoring, or performance, any change, right? So that is possible because here we are using this CZ CLI or CZ conventional change. We are using lots of modules for them, and here this is all single repository. So I mean, for single repository also we are putting all these modules. And then required modules, cookie parser we need body parser, debug, .env. We don't need this, that's not .env. Express 4.16 HTTP errors, Morgan is a logger, Pug is for a template engine. These are some of the dependencies we are using for our application. ESLint RC for ESLint validations. Prettier RC, these are the prettier rules you are going to run against all the files that has been changed. env examples, so we are using .env to load this .env example into our process.env. Just config readme, even if you are using some kind of a database like MongoDB and all, then you can create a Docker compose file and make this independent application production ready. So that's it. Now in the next video we can talk about Express TypeScript single repo structure.